Hi everyone, I'm Kisa Ko, President of Korean Association for Intellectual Property Services. Previously, I also worked as Deputy Minister, responsible for national IP strategy, both in Prime Minister's Office as well as the Ministry of Science and Technology. Please give me a few seconds so that I can share my slides on the screen. Well, hope everyone can see the screen well enough. And thank you, Mr. Sung Lee, Delta Tech CEO, and one of my longtime friends for organizing this wonderful conference. Today, I'm asked to talk about startup globalization, a very complicated but also important issue for many of us here today. Well, life is short, and I'm given only 10 minutes or so. So without further ado, why don't I just dive into it right away? As you see, these are some of the topics I try to touch on. Globalization became a buzzword in business after Thomas Friedman published his book, The World is Flat, in 2005. He is a columnist for the New York Times and three-time Pulitzer winner. Friedman talks about globalization as a flattening or level playing field for startups and smaller companies. In early days, he says, globalization was only a concern for big entities like countries or governments. It then became the key agenda of multinational corporations who wanted to expand their market beyond their own national borders. However, in the 21st century, with all the high-powered computers, networks, and internet, and business software available, SMEs and startups can now effectively compete in the global market. Well, you say, fair enough. The question is then, should tech startups also go for globalization? Instead of boring you by lecturing why and how we might want it, I just quote two famous CEOs, both very successful and often a bit flamboyant and colorful too. First, Richard Branson of Virgin Group in England. He talks about thinking big enough to be called crazy. Another one is from Elon Musk, Tesla CEO. He stresses taking risks, not S-covering. You might ask, however, all right, I want to globalize, but what should I do for it? I wrote down here 10 things, or nuts and bolts, so to speak, that I believe will be useful for many of us here. These should be obvious to anyone or company who ever thought about going global. So I just skim over them quickly. First, do your business impact analysis with due diligence, of course. Second, try to integrate your corporate objectives into the particular local strategy. Third, beachhead move. Get yourself familiarized with local dynamics and politics. Fourth, differentiate your product for a high impact entry into the particular market you are interested in. Fifth, develop an efficient and slim organizational structure. Sixth, also get ready for local laws and regulations. to minimize future risks. 7th, financial readiness. Try to establish accounting, banking, budget, and tax schemes in advance, well in advance. 8th, establish your brand and value identity with plans for comms, marketing, pricing, sales, etc., etc. 9th, try to build alliance early on with local business partners and government. Lastly, of course, IP strategy. Secure and utilize IPRs as the underpinnings for your business. Why then should we care for IPRs? I believe the defining clue came during the legal battle between Samsung and Apple in April 2014. At US District Court in San Jose, McAlhenney, Apple's lawyer, standing in front of jury, accused Samsung of having crossed into the dark side of intentional copying patterns and designs. John Quinn, however, Samsung lawyer, rebutted strongly that the $2 billion in damages asked by Apple is a gross exaggeration and an insult to the jury's intelligence. This clash of two titans opened up the new era of IPRs, I believe, in the world of business and global trade. So if you want to go global, you need a solid IPRs in your arsenal. Well, a final thought. As you can see in this picture, should we go after the cheese or the trap? The second mouse might get the cheese, but the cheese is an easier and safer choice if you just want to make a living. But the trap lets you set the game rules and change the world. Just to let you know, if you are interested in going global, why not consider starting with South Korea as one of your base camps? Korea has excellent partner companies in tech business, highly trained and competent workforce, as well as research institutes. And of course, you have KAIPS, my association, a one-stop clearinghouse for all your IP service needs. For the last 1.5 years, the whole world has gone through a shock never seen or heard before, COVID-19. Perhaps one of the toughest moments for startups too. However, I want to conclude my talk with a quote that recently truly inspired me. In the face of adversity, we have a choice. We can be bitter or we can be better. What is your North Star? Well, thank you all for your kind listening and my best wishes for the successful business, each and every one of you here. Thank you so much.